All right, week 5, Yahoo Sportsbook Live. I am so excited to be joined by my man, Jared. Jared, what's up, dude? How are the games treating you so far?
Oh, man, I just want to say I miss you, Harmon. I haven't talked to you in forever, and sports betting is a nightmare and a beautiful thing at the same time. I bet too much on too many teams, so some of them are winning and some of them are losing.
You know, that is the balance of life, Jared, and we do love some balance here. Well, it does feel like the universe is restoring itself to some sort of, I actually don't think this is balance, but it's some sort of like weird alternate reality where Davis Mills is absolutely taking it to the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. We came into this game, the Patriots were minus 7.5 on the road at Houston. I thought that was aggressive. I also thought it was aggressive how many people took them to be their survivor pick. Like, Jared, this is not the Patriots of old. We've currently got the Texans 15-9 over the Patriots. The live line right now is Houston minus 1.5. I mean, Davis Mills, what a life.
Well, as anyone was watching my Simply Sayings, I said that Davis Mills would be great because Tyrod Taylor is the predecessor to all great quarterbacks such as Baker Mayfield and Justin Herbert. And now Davis Mills, he's next on the list. No, I'm playing. But no, I don't know why people are betting the Patriots. I think it's the name brand of New England Patriots. They've been as solid as like Pepsi or McDonald's has been. You think you know what you're getting, but this is not the team. Majority of these teams' stars would not even be starters on some of the better teams in the NFL. And so I don't get it, but you're right. People betting them on their survivor picks. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's like as if McDonald's just suddenly decided like one year that we're not going to do burgers anymore. We're going to do like tuna sandwiches, but everybody kept buying McDonald's at the same clip. This is not the Patriots of old anymore. This was definitely an aggressive projection. I mean, look, the Patriots might still end up winning this game. They might cover here, but I still think this is way too much action on the Patriots overall. Let's move to another game that I think is really interesting. We just saw Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow hook up for another long touchdown. We've got the Packers 16, the Bengals 14. I actually thought that the Packers only getting or only being minus 2.5 was sort of like disrespectful. I thought like the Packers are a much better team than the Bengals, but it is on the road. It is in Cincinnati. So what are your thoughts on this game overall? I love seeing Jamar Chase catch his 5th touchdown of the year after there was so much like, I don't know, weird controversy around that pick and the way he played in the preseason, all that stuff. But yeah, to me, I don't know. I still think like minus 2.5 does feel pretty good for the Packers, but I'm not surprised that the Bengals are at least keeping it, or I'm pleasantly surprised that the Bengals are keeping it a little close.
Look, I personally came only on here to Yahoo Sportsbook Live to tell you that Jamar Chase is going to win Rookie of the Year. The Bengals are one of the best teams as underdogs. You just don't bet against the Bengals as underdogs. Vegas knows this is why they set the lineup as a trap line. I think they might win this one outright. I just feel like Aaron Rodgers, every once in a blue moon, has that game where you're like, man, I don't think he's as good as he used to be. And in the game after that, he balls. So I think this might be the game where Joe Burrow proves he's the new gun. He's the next Aaron Rodgers. He's the next one.
I mean, no, you're right about Jamar Chase potentially being the Rookie of the Year because typically, like, quarterbacks just set it and forget it. MVPs, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. It's like, why is everybody else even showing up to class at this point, right? Like, just take the day off of school or whatever. But, I mean, this could be the year where a non-quarterback wins it depending on the performance of, guys like Trey Lance if they're going to start the rest of the way. Justin Fields, those guys, maybe they come in and make a big conversation. But Jared, yeah, I think at this point, like, it is Jamar Chase's record or award to lose.
Well, what he's doing, I mean, I don't know, in college, he's making the NFL look like it does in college. Very few players can do that. Jamar Chase is making it look amazing. Obviously, the Bengals are going to have to throw the ball in a lot of these games because they're not really getting the heavy leads. So I just feel like it's his to lose, honestly. I know the quarterbacks are going to be quarterbacks. May have great careers, but this Rookie of the Year is him. I'm saying it. Bet it. Bet it live.
Yeah, no, I think that's sharp. I think it's a good idea, and you're right. Like the fact that he also didn't play college football last year just makes this like all the more impressive to me. I mean, Jamar Chase was a great prospect, and he's already showing it so far. Let's talk Broncos at Steelers. The opening line of this game was Broncos, or the one coming into the game was Broncos minus 1.5. Currently, it's Pittsburgh minus 8.5 as they lead 17-6 over the Broncos. Now, Big Ben. Everybody's taking their shots at Big Ben, your boy included. No problem teeing off on the dusty old quarterback. But, man, he's had a couple of moments, like a deep touchdown to Deontay Johnson. By the way, Jared, Deontay Johnson is so good. Like, he's just total baller. Absolutely love it. Chase Claypool made a big play. Juju did leave the game with what looked like a pretty serious, painful injury, so keep an eye on that. But Najee Harris also scored a touchdown as well. You know, when the pieces click here for Pittsburgh, there are some guys. There's some guys on this offense, even if Ben Roethlisberger is clearly on, like, not even just the back. We were talking about golf pre-show, on the back 9 of his career. He's like all the way in the clubhouse at this point, like just almost about to drive home. That's where Ben Roethlisberger is at this point.
Yeah, no. This Steelers game is the one that's hurt me the most because I actually like the Broncos. I put some of my own hard-earned money on the Broncos to win this game, and it doesn't look like it's happening. The Steelers are a wild card team. They could be the worst team in the NFL by far. And then at the same time, they can beat the Bills by 10 points. So who knows what you're getting with this team. Big Ben is looking like he has vintage moments where he can throw the ball like if he has Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders, if you can go back that far. That's what he's looking like today. This Bronco defense isn't a bad defense at all. Actually, I think they're one of the best defenses. And the fact that he's being able to score points on them, 17 in the first half, says a lot. I'm worried about this game. I hope the Broncos can pull it out, but I don't think so.
A lot of injuries for that Broncos defense. You know, they're deep at cornerback, but there's already been some injuries there. They did activate Ronald Darby off IR, so we'll keep that an eye on it. But again, 50-yard touchdown from Deontay Johnson from Ben Roethlisberger. Like, they're good players. They're good players in the Pittsburgh offense when Ben Roethlisberger has the time to, like, actually get them the ball. You can see it. All right, let's move on to another interesting one. My survivor pick this week was the Bucks. They were welcoming the Dolphins to town. I mean, this was just such an obvious get-right spot. The current live line is Tampa Bay minus 20.5 points here. Jared, are you still, even with all those points, are you still taking the Bucks?
No, I'm a Dolphins fan. Before the season, I said the Dolphins would be great. I was thinking there was some hope that maybe they can get Watson. I think they have a great defense. They have a good defense. Well, you supposedly have a good defense, but 24 points to the Buccaneers in the first half doesn't look good for me. I do think that 24 points is a lot. I think the Dolphins are always a fighting team that's going to try to score towards the end of the game. So I think a backdoor cover is very likely. So if you're watching this and you want to put some money on this game, Jared Quake Campbell is inviting you to take the Dolphins at plus 22 is what you said, Harmon?
20.5.
Oh, all right. That scares me. No, I'm playing. No, 20. Take the Dolphins at 20.5. They'll score in the second half. I actually like the Dolphins to make it at least a 17-point game.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that if they have to get aggressive. That Bucs secondary obviously has a lot of issues right now, so there's a chance that some of these guys could get loose. The receiving game, it's tough. It's tough for the Dolphins, though. You know, they sign all these new receivers. They sign Will Fuller. He's on IR. Devontae Parker missed this game. Jalen Waddle, the rookie first-round pick, has just 1 catch on 3 targets for 21 yards. The guy in the receiving game, which is mega tilting for anybody playing fantasy out there, you know, Myles Gaskin's doing nothing on the ground again, but he does have 6 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. But whatever. Don't put yourself through that heartache. Don't mess with that Dolphins backfield. But man, it is fun to watch the Buccaneers offense when they are on. Antonio Brown, 2 touchdowns, 1 explosive 62-yard catch, 1 in the red zone. It is just, you know, vintage type stuff between Tom Brady and Antonio Brown there. I think they'll comfortably win this game, but I don't mind the live bet at 20 plus 20.5 for the Miami Dolphins. Go for it.
I want you to sweat. I want Dolphins to come back so you can sweat your survivor pick. Yeah, you just went ahead and picked the Bucks. They're the reigning champions, and now I hope you sweat it out. I hope that the Dolphins come back because it would help my bets too.
Jared, I had my issues with actually I picked the the Raiders when they were playing the Dolphins and they went into overtime. That was enough sweat for me for my entire life. I mean, I was like, I don't need Jacoby Brissett ruining my NFL season here in like week 3 or whatever that was. You know, Jacoby Brissett got banged up in this game. We almost saw some guy named Reed Sinnett. Do you have a scouting report on Reed Sinnett you can give me?
I don't know, but at that point, you just got to put one of the running backs back there. Bring back the Wildcats. The Dolphins started the Wildcat. Let's finish it. Let's keep it.
You might as well. Yeah, at that point, you might as well. Let's talk Carolina and the Eagles, right? Like, we've got this game came in. Panthers were minus 3.5 at home against the Eagles. Man, the Eagles they're getting like touchdowns wiped off the board left and right by penalty. Like if you've got Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith on your fantasy team, those guys have been getting touchdowns just called back left and right by penalty. I don't know what's going on there. The current live line is Carolina -8.5. Sam Darnold's had some shakier moments in this game, but that Eagles defense is not one to be respected overall. I definitely think Carolina is the better team here.
People love Carolina this year. I don't know where the hype comes from. They haven't really played anyone tough. I think that this Eagles team is a lot better fighting. They do have a lot of penalty troubles. They're probably one of the least disciplined teams when I've watched them as far as getting holding calls and a lot of unnecessary roughnesses. So with that being the case, I don't really want to touch this game, but I think the Eagles can definitely come back. And if you're betting, live betting is always best to take the opposite of what everyone else thinks. If everybody's like, this team's going to keep rolling, go the opposite way. The Eagles make it close. I like it. I just want to go against Harmon, too.
No, I mean, listen, I think Carolina's a better team, but 8.5 points is still a lot here. And Jalen Hurts can get it going maybe in the second half. Man, I'll tell you what, though, Jared, I don't know how you feel about this, but the Eagles just do not want to run the ball at all. Like, won't do it. 3 carries for Miles Sanders in the first half. 1 for Kenneth Gainwell. Even Jalen Hurts only runs 1 time for 0 yards. They were 6th in neutral situation passing grade coming into this week. Like, it almost is like backwards of what you'd expect, because you'd expect, like, let's build an offense around Jalen Hurts' legs, and like Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell are like pretty explosive young guys. And also, you mentioned the penalties. Is that just a coaching thing? Is this like not a staff that we're enthused about here so far?
Well, I don't think the offensive line is as great as it used to be. You know, the Philadelphia Eagles used to have one of the best offensive lines in history, and now they're actually at the bottom half of the league. And I think with that being the case, obviously, the NFL is moving to a throwing league. No one can dominate the run. I mean, the good teams who win the championship have figured it out. But for the most part, I mean, a 3rd and 3 is a passing down now. No one runs on 3rd and 3. Yep. So I like what they're doing. I think Jalen Hurts is still relatively young. And I think this Eagles team could be pretty good in the next 3 or 4 years. They're just getting it together, man. They got a lot of receivers that have been hurt. They got a couple guys that you're like, who is that guy? And he's great. And so I think they'll be good in the future. I just don't think this year's for them. I think they need a couple early draft picks, and then they'll be good.
Well, luckily they have quite a lot of draft picks. So they've got, I think, 3 first-round picks coming up here. So, yeah, they've got a lot of capital to work with, and Jalen Hurts still has a long time to prove himself here the rest of the season. So we'll watch that one. Game that just moved to half, New Orleans Saints at Washington Football Team. We've currently got the Saints 20-13 up on Washington. The live line is now actually the Saints -6.5. They entered this -2.5. Marquez Callaway scored on a 49-yard touchdown right before the half here. So far, Jameis Winston is like riding the full Jameis experience, man. He's got an interception. He's only completing 50% of his passes, but his 16 attempts have gone for 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. The big plays have been there. Like I mentioned, Deontay Harris caught a 72-yard touchdown in addition to what Marquez Callaway did there. Taysom Hill also was carted off in this game, so that's an injury to monitor. And the pride of Old Dominion, Taylor Heineke, is sitting with a 54.6 pass rating. I don't know, man. I kind of like Washington and the points here at this one at home. I think these teams are still relatively equal. How do you feel about this one?
The football team is don't bet on the football team. They're the most unpredictable team. You add that with the fact that the Saints are one of the teams that could either be the worst or the best team you've ever seen. They beat the Packers and then go out and lose to the Giants. I personally think this is good. Jameis playing right now. He's throwing a couple long TDs. And with that being the case, I really think that Heineke's, I think he does play good and he makes some touchdowns, but I honestly think the Saints should run away with this one. As long as LASIK Jameis can keep throwing touchdown passes, if they get a lead, you add Alvin Kamara running the ball in the 4th quarter. I think they score a couple more touchdowns. I like them to run this one. Even 6.5 they're already covering that. So let's roll with the Saints, baby.
All right, there we go.
For Minty.
All right,
I'm doing that for Minty.
There you go. She would appreciate it. She'd appreciate it. All right, the Texans, Jared, the Texans have scored again. Davis Mills to Chris Conley for 37 yards, 22-9. The Texans are over the Patriots. The live line is Houston -5.5. What is going on?
Parlay that Jamar Chase Rookie of the Year bet with Davis Mills running Rookie of the Year as well.
I don't know. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Did you watch him against the Bills? Did you watch him against like an actually good team?
No, yeah. I mean, everybody has a bad game against the Bills in Buffalo.
Yeah, well, that is a fair point. That's a fair point. Update on Juju Smith-Schuster. He has been ruled out with a shoulder injury now, so do not expect to see Juju the rest of this game. That is going to be problematic for that Pittsburgh offense. Jared, let's transition. Let's move ahead now. Let's look to some of the later games with our final 15 minutes of the show here. Let's talk. Minty is at the Raiders game. Maybe we can get a like live report from Minty or something later when she's at this Raiders game. But currently, Raiders -5.5. Bears are coming in here. Justin Fields officially. Someone like knocked some sense into Matt Nagy or like told him, hey man, we barely brought you back this year, so just go ahead and start the rookie that we traded up for, okay? Like, let's just get this thing going. How do you feel about this game and the Bears overall as we move into the Justin Fields era officially?
This is a tough one to bet. Obviously, the Raiders are an unpredictable team. Obviously, the Bears are known for their defense, and if they can slow down Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs, I think they should be. And Kenyon Drake's the new face of that offense now. I think they should be able to keep it within 5.5. I think 5.5 is a weird number. Most teams don't really care to win by 5.5. If you're up by 3 or 4, which is more likely, so you're really expecting them to win by a touchdown here. I think this Bears team is just as hungry as this Raiders team. And with that being the case, I actually like the Bears to win this one. I know Minty would not let me sit in her seat on her show and talk bad about the Raiders, but here I am. Here I am.
Well, it's your show now, buddy. You're driving this ship, and you're doing pretty good. So I like that call, though. I mean, listen, the Raiders have their issues, but if you do want a little sneaky maybe fantasy play here, I really like Henry Ruggs as a value in daily fantasy. I really like Henry Ruggs as a potential sleeper in this spot. 17.8 air yards per target leads the team, leads all relevant wide receivers. Chicago is 23rd in explosive play rate allowed. They've been giving it up in terms of guys, especially in the middle of the field. Ruggs has kind of like split some slot reps with Hunter Renfrow, so both those guys I think are actually pretty sneaky plays. Hunter Renfrow, we know, lit up the Chargers last week. Jared, that must have made you feel alive, that Hunter Renfrow smack that he delivered on that fake punt by the Chargers last week. But Chargers welcome the Browns.
Yeah, that was a heads-up play. That's one of those plays that you don't really expect guys like that to make. That's big-time players making big-time plays in big-time games that your team doesn't win when I'm betting on you. No, I love the Ruggs. I think Ruggs he's guaranteed to get at least 3 deep balls a game. If you watch him, Derek Carr is going to throw the ball deep to him. And he's been doing a good job. He's catching them. You can't double team him because it opens up too much of the field. He's too fast. So you're getting one-on-one coverage on a guy that's 4.2 speed. I do love him to be great on the daily fantasy plays. And I do think this game will be higher scoring than most, so I actually like the over. I think Fields finally figures it out. I don't think the Raiders defense, although they do get a lot of pressure, I think that helps when you have a running quarterback that can open those lanes and keep them guys honest. So I like the over and the Bears on this one. And Ruggs to get a catch.
Now that we got, love it. Now that we got Matt Nagy like not calling plays anymore either, things looked pretty good with Bill Lazor last week, so I expect that to continue. Let's talk Browns at Chargers. Chargers -2.5. Jared, I got bad vibes around the whole Baker Mayfield thing right now. You know, he's missing like Odell Beckham deep downfield. He's talking about this shoulder injury. He's coming off a real bad game against the Vikings last week. Where are we at with the Browns? Like, theoretically, they're a run-first team. The Chargers are definitely a much worse run defense than they are pass defense. Pass defense, man, they don't give up any explosive plays, period. So I struggle to see how LA does not get the win. And I love the -2.5 here on the Chargers. I actually think this could be like a 10 or 14 point victory for the Chargers, but am I too far ahead of myself here?
No, you're way too far. You're overreaching. The pride of this Browns team is their defense, and that's why they're going to win this game. They run the ball and play great defense.
They're going to win.
They have a great pass rush. Oh, no, they're going to win this game. They have a great pass rush. Obviously, they're going to be able to run the ball. This Browns team is really a couple of plays against the Chiefs, who are a really good team, from being undefeated. Like, let's give them some respect where it's needed. They have one of the best secondaries. They have they got 2 people rushing the quarterback that are first-round overall picks. I think that this Browns team is going to make Herbert's life a little more tougher than it needs to be. And I think the home field advantage edge that we're giving the Chargers is actually going to be a Browns edge, because the Chargers really don't have fans in LA. You know it. You live in LA. When was the last time you see somebody with a Chargers jersey? You don't see it.
No, you don't see it. God, I felt so bad for the Charge. I feel bad for the players because like they have nothing to do with these decisions of like the whole ownership situation and moving to LA, all that. I felt so bad, especially the guys that are there now, like Austin Eckler, you know, Justin Herbert, like totally different era here. I felt bad for those guys having to come out there to the Raiders fans like booing them in that stadium. It's tough to watch. I get your point about the Browns defense though, man. Like when Jadeveon Clowney doesn't have to be the guy. Like last year he did nothing for the Titans, you know, injuries of course, but also like he was their best pass rusher. That's not the situation you want. But when you across from Myles Garrett, man, Clowney is creating some chaos. He's wrecking shop up there. Obviously Garrett is that dude. So we'll see. The Chargers did a pretty good job rebuilding their offensive line, but they will have to hold up here. Other two games, we'll just kind of hit on this real quick. Giants at Cowboys. Cowboys -7. I don't know if you have too much to say about that one. I want to get to the later games. 49ers at Cardinals, though. Jared, I kind of like the 49ers at +5.5 here. Trey Lance making his first start. You know, obviously the Arizona pass defense has been good, but their rush defense, you watch them, they're struggling with their run fits right now. That kind of happens if you're an aggressive defense overall. They play a pretty decent bit of man coverage there. We know that rushing quarterbacks, when the corners are in man coverage, they turn their back there. A rushing quarterback can really take advantage. And I think that Kyle Shanahan's going to come out and show us a lot here in terms of his game plan with Trey Lance. Are you with me? 49ers plus 5.5.
I do. I think the Cardinals are overvalued here. The Cardinals are a great team. They did just embarrass the Rams. They've been playing really good football. But if you know anything about the Cardinals, they've played some close games with teams they shouldn't. 5.5 is way too many, as I said, with the Raiders. It's a number that's too high for teams they don't really want to get that much. And I just feel like, obviously, Byron Murphy's going to be out this game, one of their top corners. You had that with Deebo Samuel. So I think this game is close. I won't say the 49ers will win, but I'm saying they possibly could. I think the NFC West is the toughest division in football right now, and there's no way the Cardinals go undefeated through it. So somebody's going to beat them. That somebody could be the 49ers today.
Yeah, I don't see why not. 49ers plus 5.5 seems really good. I mean, no George Kittle's questionable, but maybe we finally see Brandon Ayuk do something too. God, I would really help not just my fantasy teams, but my mental health if Brandon Ayuk could do something. That would be really great for me personally. That would be lovely. All right, let's talk about the biggest game of the week. I mean, we got to talk about it here. Chiefs welcome the Bills. The Chiefs are -2.5 at home. Man, I mean, it's obviously record-wise, like the Bills look like the better team, but I mean, hard to bet against the Chiefs in this spot at home, especially since the Chiefs beat them twice last year. How are you feeling about this game going into it, Jared?
Mahomes in prime time, man. You don't bet against Mahomes in prime time. I think the Bills are a little overvalued. They are 3-1, but they did lose to the Steelers. They shut out two teams with their backup quarterback. And I just feel like, honestly, this Bills team is a little bit overvalued right now. I think they should be probably a 5-point underdog against the Chiefs right now. I think Mahomes and that offense is going to go out and score some points. And hopefully the Chiefs defense, who's been non-existent, can find a way to slow down Josh Allen and them. I think Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, finds the ball in his hand at least once this game. And I think there's no way the Chiefs don't win by at least 3. So if you watch my Simply Saying this week, I'm simply saying the Bills can't keep it within 3 with the Chiefs today in Arrowhead.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, that Chiefs defense has been bad. Bills defense has been great, but I think the Bills, like from a defensive ranking perspective, from a point differential perspective, I think a lot of that has to do with playing the Dolphins. When Tua got hurt, they shut them out. Obviously playing Davis Mills, they shut them out. I think the defense is good, but I don't think it's that good, and I think the Chiefs defense can pull a few things out here. But Jared, we got to talk about my player props. I don't know if you know this. I am 16-8 through 4 weeks here doing player props. I'm kind of crushing the whole player prop thing. So let me give you my 3 props from this game. I'll do Monday night as well. You could tell me if you think I am going to, come back crashing to earth here. First up, I got Stephon Diggs. Starting neutral. Stephon Diggs over 87.5 yards. Listen, Diggs has been getting the volume. The targets have been there. The air yards have been there. This Chiefs defense, as I mentioned, it is not good. I think they have legit problems, especially from a cornerback perspective. Like, you're going to have, like, Mike Hughes in man coverage against Stephon Diggs. Like, yeah, give me Stephon Diggs there. He hasn't had that eruption game just yet. I think this is the eruption game for Stephon Diggs, so I'm going over on that one, -115. Give me that. And because of that, obviously, the guy who's going to have to deliver him the ball, I am going to take the over on Josh Allen's yardage as well. 306.5 passing yards. Give me the over for Josh Allen as well. Emmanuel Sanders, Jared, he looks good. He's like their deep threat right now, too. You know, they still have Cole Beasley. Dawson Knox, too, has like kind of made that third-year tight end leap. Pretty exciting development there. We know the Bills are just going to pass the hell out of the ball. This whole Zach Moss thing, I think, has mostly been just a game script-induced thing the last couple of weeks. So if I'm taking Diggs over, I'm going to take Allen along with it. And the last one I'll take is a Chiefs one. I'm going to go over 16.5 rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes. Now, he's cleared this number in back-to-back games. It's just a modest one. Like, I want to be betting on Mahomes somehow. Give me just the over on his yardage in a competitive, back-and-forth, high-scoring game. A couple, you know, again, if this defense is going to, you know, be playing well against the Chiefs, like sending extra heat, why don't Mahomes just run a couple out himself?
I love all three of those. I think Stephon Diggs, in order for this team to keep it competitive, they're going to have to throw the ball to Stephon Diggs. That's your weapon. You're going to have to use them. I think this is a very high-scoring game, so I do love the over on Josh Allen, too, because both teams are going to have to throw. I think the Bills' secret is that the offense has been able to score so many points that their defense has been able to shut teams out because teams have to lose their game plan. And when you add that to the fact that you think the Bills are going to run because they're up by so much, Josh Allen throws the ball out. That may not be the case this game, so I am a little worried about Josh Allen getting up way over it, but I think he should touch that number. And as far as Mahomes, if you blitz him, he'll teach you. I know that needs to rhyme. I don't know why it doesn't rhyme, but it works in basketball. If you blitz Mahomes, he will show you why you shouldn't blitz him. He can run. He can throw the ball. The best thing to slow him down is to stay back in zone and make sure you can hold him like the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl. But with that, he should be able to get over 16 yards rushing because that's just 5 yards getting the ball over the first down marker. So I do love all three of those pops. You get 3 thumbs up from me. Player approved.
I also want all three of those players. If I'm playing single game Yahoo Daily Fantasy tonight, like I'm definitely making sure I'm getting aggressive. I'm going to spend the $41 on Josh Allen. I'm going to spend the $37 on Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to spend the $30 on Stephon Diggs. Jared, let's talk Josh Gordon.
What about Josh Gordon? What about Josh Gordon? Don't run over there.
Yeah.
What about Josh Gordon?
$12. $12 in Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Like, it's his first game in forever, but it's like, are you going to spend $12 on Josh Gordon? You could spend $10 on Cole Hardman. I don't know about all that, man. Hardman probably ain't in. So what do you, just quick expectations, seriously, for Josh Gordon. You think so? Okay.
He gets a touchdown.
That is, I mean, that's wild, but I would love to see it. I would love to see it. That would be awesome. Who wouldn't love it?
Receivers are one of the few positions you don't really need to know the offense.
Yes, that's true. There's like no other landing spot where I would have been interested in Josh Gordon, but him playing with the Chiefs, yeah, that's pretty exciting. I think that is worth the attention, no doubt about it. All right, let's move to Monday Night Football. We've got Colts at Ravens. Your Ravens are -6.5. Overall on the game, Jared, I'm assuming you're riding with the Ravens here.
Yeah, man, but if you've been watching the Ravens, besides the Broncos game last week, they've been playing every game as nail biters. You don't really know who wins until the game's over. With that being the case, I think that continues. It's a Monday Night Football game. 6.5 is a lot. Obviously, the Ravens are going to run the ball. They're going to play good defense. And Carson Wentz and the Colts had a good game last game, but they're still underperforming. I think this game is close. Obviously, I hope the Ravens win because we need my brother to get a Super Bowl. But with that being the case, I actually think 6.5 may be too much. This is a field goal game. If you watched last year's Colts game, it was very close until the fourth quarter. So with that being the case, I actually like this to be the Colts a little more here if you're going to put money on it. And maybe that's just me not trying to jinx my brother. So there we go. That's my pick. I like the Colts +6.5.
Hey, I don't hate it. I get it. It could be a close competitive game. Let me give you my player props on this one. Because this was a bit hard. I felt really convicted about the first two. The last one I was like kind of iffy on, but we'll go with it. First of all, I'm going to go the obvious route here and take Lamar Jackson over 227.5 passing yards. Jared, you mentioned it. The Ravens play good defense. They want to run the ball for sure, but Jared, they're 18th in neutral situation passing rate right now. Like, and I know that doesn't sound like much, but they were 30th last year. They were 32nd in Lamar's first year. They're really letting him sling it. He's throwing deep at a higher rate than anyone else who has started all the games this year. Like, I think Lamar clears this number against the defense that, you know, the Colts are whatever. Like, they're middle of the road. It's fine. Might even get Rashad Bateman back, who I love Rashad Bateman as a prospect. I think Lamar clears this number pretty easily here.
This is your best bet. I think this is the solid one. Teams have figured out you don't blitz Lamar Jackson. You got to sit back there and let him throw. problem they're learning is he can actually throw the football. Obviously, Hollywood Brown is a deep ball threat that stretches the field. You had that with Sammy Watkins on his cross countries. He's catching a lot of balls. And I still think we need a wake up from Mark Andrews. He hasn't necessarily been at what people expect him. And this could be the game he breaks out on Monday night in front of the whole world, live television. So I love that bet. That's your best prop bet. I'm backing that one, 5 stars.
All right, well, if I can get 5 stars from you, Jared, that makes me feel pretty damn good. All right, let's move on to my next one here. Michael Pittman, over 53.5 receiving yards. The Ravens, obviously, great defense. We know that. They're always aggressive. They're always strong up front. I was kind of tempted to go with the catches on Michael Pittman because they've been getting him the ball. I mean, this guy's got 36 targets. That's a really high number across the NFL. He's like got 10 more targets than the next highest guy at Zach Pascal, the pride of Old Dominion University, Zach Pascal at 23. But Michael Pittman has been the guy for the Colts, and I think he's good, man. I think he's been getting open. Him and Carson Wentz have missed on Carson Wentz. Give me a break. Carson Wentz has missed him just by a bit on some of these deep passes, some of the red zone plays. But man, I think Michael Pittman is going to turn all that volume into a huge game at some point. He did have a big game against the Rams. I think he could also get over on some of these outside cornerbacks for the Ravens, who do give up 14 yards per catch to wide receivers. But I feel like you're not going to be as enthusiastic about this one.
Yeah, no, he's going to get that Marlon Humphrey treatment, which isn't fair to anyone. He's getting locked up. Obviously, that game against the Rams was at home, and it was a much different atmosphere. He's going to the bank in Baltimore, and I just felt like that's a bet that I would actually take the under on. In order for them to keep this one close, they better run the ball and run the ball well. You need Taylor. Give me a Taylor prop, but not Michael Pittman.
I get it. No, I get it. I was tempted to go with the Jonathan Taylor prop, but nothing looked too good overall. And man, I mean, the Ravens are still a great run defense. Like, it is tough. It is tough to run the ball on Baltimore. All right, my last one, and again, didn't feel super convicted about this one, but Latavius Murray, I just went the over on his carries, 12.5 carries. Like, they clearly leaned into him as the guy last week. You know, Tyson Williams, everybody was getting excited about Tyson Williams. He was looking explosive, all that. But man, I mean, the Ravens just sent him to the bench, healthy scratch. And I kind of actually think it leans back into the Lamar thing, Jared. Like, Lamar's on pace for 1,000 rushing yards again. Lamar Jackson's throwing the ball at an incredibly high rate. You know, he's throwing it deep at an incredibly high rate too. They're basically just saying Lamar is the engine of our offense. Like, just throw Murray out there. Even if he's not explosive, he'll be a guy who just gets what's there for us. I think they're going to continue to lean on him. They're a 6.5-point favorite. I think Murray at least gets over the carries here. Nothing special yardage-wise, but I do think carries is a pretty safe bet.
No, I think I love that pick. I also think he gets a touchdown. I think he scored every game except for one this year. I think the Ravens. He's one of the veteran backs. I think Taysom's a great back. I think he had trouble with protection, and that was a problem for them. So with Murray being able to protect the quarterback better than most other backs, and they have to keep the defense honest, and you think they're going to run with Lamar Jackson, so you always got to respect that. Opens up lanes. I actually love over 12 carries, and I love Murray to get in the end zone. He's been doing it pretty consistent this year, so why not? One more time.
Latavius Murray, just $14 in Yahoo Daily Fantasy if you're playing the single game contest, and you should be playing the single game contest. I mean, what's more fun than watching games with more on the line? Not just some sports bets, but also some daily fantasy. So get in on the action. It's exciting and fun.
Sports bet.
Jared,
put some money on it. Put some money on the Ravens, actually. It's money line. So we can
do both
together.
Do everything. Do everything.
Money line is the safest bet. That's like buying Apple stock. Put it on money line, Ravens. There you go. Jared Quay approved.
There we go. Jared Quay approved. Well, Jared, I appreciate you doing the show with me this week. This has been awesome. A lot of good games to catch later on. We obviously got a great primetime game ahead of us. So for you out there, good luck with all your Week 5 fantasy lineups, all your bets, all your daily fantasy. Go win. We are with you. We are rocking with you. Let's do this thing.
Get some money.